Vážení přátelé, a teď už nás čeká zlatý hřeb dnešního večera, projevy našich hlavních hostů. Tak dovolte, abych vám představil prvního z nich. Je to předseda strany Pro svobodu, je to lídr opozice v Holandsku, Geert Wilderse.
Moji přátelé, pražský krásný večer. My dear friends, I am very happy to be here in Prague, one of the most beautiful cities in Europe. And thank you, Tomio Okamura and the SPD for inviting me here today. Your huge election victory last October here in the Czech Republic encouraged us all. Congratulations. Congratulations, SPD, and long live the Czech patriots. Especially honored to have been asked to address so many Czech patriots here this evening. And let me tell you a little secret. The Czechs are indeed one of my favorite people in Europe. You are a nation of heroes. You are. Just think of Jan Komensky, the great philosopher who also lived in my country, the Netherlands. He was a great European who, wherever he went, kept writing in Czech and remained a Czech above all. And let us never forget his great lesson. Only by remaining what we are, we can be true Europeans. And when I think of the Czechs, I also think of Thomas Masaryk, the liberator of your land, your own George Washington. He mocked our so-called intellectual elites who are eager to change the world but are too arrogant to see the wisdom and the traditions of conservative values. And his great lesson, the great lesson of Thomas Masaryk was respect the wisdom of the people. Respect the wisdom of our ancestors. Our national values, our traditions, our identity, they make us who we are, and we will never give them up. And when I think of the Czechs, I think of Jan Palach, hero of the Prague Spring of 1968. And Jan Palach, as you know, refused to live under totalitarian dictatorship. Rather than live under the yoke of totalitarianism, he preferred to die for freedom. And in his legacy, we stand, all of us. Jan Palach made the word Czech into a synonym of bravery. He is not dead. His spirit lives here, today, in Prague, and we will never betray it. Because we too want to live in freedom. My friends, my party want to take the Netherlands out of the European Union. Our motto is Nexit. sovereign, independent nation states, because the nation state is the home of a democracy, and only the nation state can protect our national identity. And we are not afraid to state very clear that the European Union is nothing more or less than a monster. It's a monster. And of course, individual countries can work together, bilaterally, multilaterally, if they consider that it is in their mutual benefit. But we reject all supranationalism, because it undermines, as I said before here tonight, national sovereignty. It undermines our national identity, our democracy, our liberty and our values. And today, as you know, Brussels wants to inundate us with third world immigrants, mostly from Islamic countries. It wants to distribute these immigrants all over the European Union. And that, my friends, will be a disaster. It will dilute our Judeo-Christian and humanist identity of our nations. And the Czech Republic, your own country, and the other Visegrad countries reject this evil EU plan. You defend Europe today and its civilization. And we support you. We support you in your brave resistance against the European Union. Because, like you, we want to remain what we are. And we are a free, independent nation. A free, independent people. My dear friends, we must together oppose the cosmopolitan elites, because these elites do not represent the people, are selling out our nation state. But maybe even more important, together we must oppose Islamic totalitarianism, because our civilization is not Islamic. It is rooted in the legacy of Jerusalem, of Athens and Rome, and not and never in Mecca. And today Brussels is suing you. The cosmopolitan elites are suing the Czech Republic, Poland and Hungary, because they want your country to be Islamized in the same way as Western Europe is Islamized already today. And that, my friend, is outrageous. It's a scandal. But I tell you, you are not alone. I am with you. We are with you. Everybody, all your friends stand with you, because we want the same thing as you. We want to remain the masters of our own house. And together we symbolize the flame of freedom that cannot be extinguished. And here we stand, united in our fight for freedom. We are indeed the vanguard of the new Europe. You do not want in the Czech Republic what is happening in Western Europe today. Because what's happening there is terrible. And new figures about the growing Muslim population in the European Union have just been published by the renowned Pew Center. And unless, my friends, unless there are radical changes to the present policy towards immigration, over 30% of Sweden will be Islamic in the middle of the century. Almost 20% of Germany and France will be Islamic in the middle of the century. And we in Western Europe, In the past 4 decades, we have allowed in millions of immigrants, many of them of Islamic background. And although not all immigrants are to blame, mass immigration has led to a total disaster. Crime has increased. Violence against women has multiplied. Anti-Semitism has risen. Terror attacks have happened almost everywhere. And you do not want that here. You say no, never, nikdy. That's what I say. And you do not want Sharia neighborhoods where Czechs no longer feel safe. And you don't want more mosques, more imams, more halal food, more inequality between men and women. You do not want barbaric Islamic Sharia law in your land. You do not. And let me tell you the truth. Islam is not a religion. Islam is a totalitarian ideology. If you leave Islam, you will be killed. Islam wants to dominate our society. It's an ideology unwilling, but also unable to assimilate. Islam means violation of laws. Islam means domination, violence, terror towards Christians, Jews, women, apostates, actually against everybody that is not Islamic in your society. Islam, Islamic Sharia law and freedom are 100% incompatible. Nowhere in the world, not in one country in the world where Islam is dominant, there is freedom. So my proposal is no more Islam. Do you agree? No more violence, no more hate, no more terror, no more Islam. If you like Islam, and if you want more mosques or imams, if you like halal food, if you want to live under Sharia law, you may have it, but not here. Then you better move to Saudi Arabia or Iran, not here. This is our country. My friends, in the past, the Czechs played an important role in protecting Europe against Islam. It was your own king, Ludwig, the king of Bohemia and Hungary, who fell fighting the Ottomans at Mohács. And Bohemians were also prominently present at the siege of Vienna. You were a bulwark of the West against the Ottomans. And we in the West actually owe a big part of our freedom to you. Thank you. And today, once again, you resist both the EU asylum policy and the Islamization of Europe. And I tell you, thank you, my Czech friends. Thank you, Visegrad countries. Your resistance inspires us. Unfortunately, if nothing happens, worse is still to come. You haven't seen anything yet. The African population is bound to grow from its present 1 billion to 4 billion people by the end of this century. And one third of these 4 billion Africans want to move abroad. And they will come, many of them will come to Europe. So I tell you, if we do not stop this, millions Hundreds of millions will be coming our way. We will become, whether we like it or not, a province of Africa. We will be Islamized. Our people will become a minority and our population will be replaced. But our answer is clear. No, never, nikdy to that. Therefore, my friends, our countries must adopt a totally new strategy. We must have courage, and we must have the courage to introduce travel bans, as President Trump has done in America. And we must have courage. We must have the courage to send every boat with illegal migrants back, as Australia is doing already. We must have the courage to restrict legal immigration instead of expanding it, even if we sometimes have to build a wall like the brave Hungarians have done. Thank you, Hungary. And we must have the courage to repatriate illegal immigrants. And we must have the courage to de-Islamize our society and be unwelcoming to the ideology of Islam. Instead of being soft, Europe must be tough. We must finally start being tough. My friends, there is no other alternative. If we fail to do so, we cease to exist. If we do not have the courage to do the things I just mentioned, we will perish. We are indeed, and I am not exaggerating, facing an existential crisis in Europe today. And my friends, the big conflict of our age, the big confrontation ahead of us, is the conflict between globalism and patriotism, between supranationalism and identity. And in this conflict there is only one word that is our slogan, and that is freedom. Svoboda. That is our new slogan. My friends, and one thing can help actually. I hope I pronounce it right, but what could help is Tomio Okamura. Do you agree? In the spirit of our national heroes, we will defend the high castle of freedom and democracy. And we will win, because we are the patriots. And together, we are the wind of change that will shake the old order, I am sure, and restore the Europe of the Europeans. Thank you so much.